is there any particular aspect? I know it's been quite some time, but kind of casting your mind back to when you were here, was there any particular aspect of the program that was more impactful than others?
Ooh, that's a difficult one because I got so much from all of it. Probably the group therapy. Here, not being able to communicate and just having shut down, hearing the stories, people's not to 15s and then the 15s plus, and hearing the group support them, but also say, do you think this is right? And Gary said to me a long, long time ago, if one person tells you something, they might be right. If two people tell you, then yeah, they could be ganging up here. But if a whole room full of people are telling you something, then they're usually spot on. And that was sort of reverse of how I'd had my life at home. I'd had parents, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. Why haven't you done this? Why haven't you done that? And actually, the group therapy, you can put it out there and people will come back and question you, and it gives you the chance to explore, and so many things resonate with you. When somebody absolutely loses it and breaks down and might scream and rant and rave, I was terrified, absolutely, but I couldn't leave that room. But then afterwards, when I'd seen the support they got and everything else, and I'd go back to my room and I'd journal about it, and I'd just think, wow, how powerful. Why can't I do that? Why can't I get angry at the world? Because my anger isn't justified, because I'm not allowed that. So the group therapy, and also the guys coming in for aftercare and seeing them nail it. And the support, the continued support afterwards, the being able to log on to the Evolve Zoom meeting, being on the chat, knowing that 24/7 there was somebody at the end of a phone that I could message, even if I didn't want to speak, and say, it's really crap today, help. And they'd come back. I'd never had that support. Everybody was there for me, but when it was really dark, they didn't want to know.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful type of support because you can be yourself with it.
Yeah.
You can say and be brutally honest, to someone that will understand, and there's no kind of judgment, there's no hiding away. It's like you can really offload what's going on, even if you feel like it's remedial or too much or too heavy or whatever category you want to put it in. But it's I know that support can be incredibly liberating.
And it's the group therapy. You get little phrases that stick in your head. I was reminded of one the other day. Quite funny. Somebody was behaving particularly oddly towards me, and I questioned it, and this guy said, well, it's resentment. And I went, why are they resenting me? And they went, resentment, it's like when you wet yourself, you feel uncomfortable but everybody else can see it. And as soon as I realised that, it was like, actually, it's not about me, I haven't done anything wrong, it's about them. There's so many, one I say a dozen times a day is, for God's sake, Rachel, take the pity dick out your mouth. And actually it also brought a lot of humour into recovery. And there's a lot of, I've never had neighbours in my life, I've always lived on remote farms, so to land here and at that point there were 14 people in the clinic, it was like, I was thinking, when it one flew over the cuckoo's nest. It was terrifying. It was COVID time, I had to be in isolation, I couldn't speak, I couldn't eat, but just observing and seeing the support and the love, and that no matter how bad you think you've behaved, you're not judged for it. You're only human, we all mess up sometimes. And that makes me quite emotional, because they accept you for who you are and help you build to who you deserve to be.
Yeah. You know, it is scary. You know, like 14 people, they're all perfect strangers. You don't, but you kind of adapt
Yeah.
and you adjust, and you know, just kind of sticking with the group therapy dynamic, because I love how you've picked that as because it was my favourite aspect too. But there's this wonderful transference that takes place, where people are seeing things in other people, and you're seeing things in other people, and it's like a kind of mirroring effect. There's just so much information. So yeah, I wanted to like, did you ever get angry in group therapy?
I never got angry in group therapy, and I still to this day, that is one emotion I struggle with.
Did you feel it and push it down? Or?
Frustration more than anger, I would say.
Yeah, there's lots of that, yeah.
And it was the frustration that I had suppressed my emotions for so long I didn't know what I was feeling. And then, as I say, the magic of group therapy, one lady was describing her childhood, and she just said one sentence about something her mum had done, and that was it. I was literally frozen to the spot. I couldn't even blink. And the session finished, and one of the therapists came and sat beside me and said, "Where have you gone?" And this sob that was so painful came out of me. It physically hurt, and luckily I had got a one-to-one session straight afterwards, and it opened the floodgates. If I had not been in that room when she done her 0 to 15 and said that one sentence, I may still have been locked in the place that I was in. So I didn't get angry in there. I got very, very distressed at times. I've walked out, wanted to run away, not face the truth. But actually, every time I went back in, it just got my resolve, and it's like, no, it's a bit like when you've got a sore and you keep scratching it and you know you're making it worse, but you know it's got to get worse to get better. And then eventually you walk in one day and you come out and you look at that sore and it's like, oh, it's healed.
Yeah.
You know, that's another bit that's scabbed over that I've not got to keep fiddling about with. So yeah, group therapy, it was very stressful for me because I had been so isolated, and I wasn't used to being with all these people, but actually it really, really pushed me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And having had one-to-one therapy in the past, I'm coming away feeling even worse about myself and thinking I'm just another massive problem. To actually have those people point out the good bits of me as well as the bad.
Staying in that chair, you know, sitting in that chair is one of the most difficult things. If I remember about therapy, about coming into treatment, you know, staying in the room, staying in the chair, you know, because particularly at the beginning, you know, it's like every kind of instinct is to run, is to leave, because it's just too overwhelming. But in their way, they really do try and kind of keep you in it.
And it also felt very alien to me, because how I was brought up and how I'd lived my life was, if I had an opinion or I said anything, I was talked over and I was told I was wrong. And then suddenly I've got a room of 14 people plus 2 therapists sitting and respecting my voice, what I was saying, my opinion, and giving me the space to talk. I'd never had that. You know, I was 47 years old and I'd always been told I was wrong. And these people were actually willing to listen to what I had to say. That was really uncomfortable, and that was where a lot of the frustration came from, because I knew what I wanted to say, but I didn't want to get it wrong. And you know, and like I say, I just decided then, just be honest and open, and don't lie to yourself. So just say what comes out your mouth, because it can't be wrong, because it's your words. And that, you know, that was a turning point, because then I realised that I had no self-esteem. I didn't value myself. I didn't think I was worth anything, but actually these people were listening, and they wanted to listen, and they wanted to listen so they could help me. I'd never had that in my life.